Hello, everybody. How are you? Very, very good to be with you today. And as you can see, I'm in a good mood, which is the usual way of it. And I have a video for you today that you're really going to like. And I know you're going to like it because I'm not going to screw around. I'm not going to mess around. I'm not going to wait for any suspense to build. I'm just going to come right out here and tell you why you're not awake. And this makes no difference whether you have or have not had an initial awakening, whether you've had one glimpse, no glimpse, or 32 glimpses, it doesn't make any difference. And it doesn't make any difference if you were planning on waking up soon. Do you notice that nobody is planning on waking up like way, way, way down the line? Because that ain't what it feels like. It feels like, I'm going to wake up soon. I mean, that's what it feels like. But you thought that was your unique position, and you're not. It's universal. That's what everybody thinks. Everybody thinks is that I'm just missing this one little bit. And if I could just get somebody to give me this one last little bit of information, then that would fit right into the puzzle, and the bright mind would figure it out, and I'd have achieved enlightenment. Lord, give me a gold star. Isn't that right? Well, the reason you don't have a gold star, the reason you're not awake right now, if you're not, so there'd be some people who are, but I wouldn't want to, bet too heavily on the percentages there. Although the percentages of those of you who have had an awakening is probably pretty good, because you don't get here usually on your first rodeo. I mean, you've already had to go through all the big name teachers to get here, which means you've had years of disappointment probably. Not because they're not good teachers, they are, but you're too damn smart. That's the problem. And they're trying to help you get smarter, actually. That's I don't know that they would say that, but that's basically what it is. Or that's why you go there, is in order to get smarter, to get more information, to really catalog everything up so that you can be squared away and ready for this dynamic awakening, this shift into non-duality. Wow, I can't wait. And when that happens, it's just going to be something. Well, the reason it hasn't happened up to now is that you're too damn smart. How many times I got to tell you that? You're too damn smart. What do I mean by that? That would be probably the place to go right now. It's what do I mean that you're too damn smart? Because, nothing but smart people call me. I know that you're watching this video, you're smart. I don't know that you're brilliant, but I know that if you get in, actually come in as close enough to get in touch with me, you probably are brilliant. Not because that's a brilliant decision, but just because that's who comes. Sniffle alert. This I'm not in control of this unit. It has the sniffles. There's nothing I can do. So if you don't care for these sniffles, my best advice for you is to go find another video, because this one will come complete with sniffles. So just the way of it, right? So I woke up a woman yesterday. No, excuse me. I woke up a woman this morning, and just this morning in Germany. Very nice woman. And I always say that, but it's always true. My clients are almost always very nice people. They're very nice people, and they're very smart people. Now, this particular woman had been on the trail for more than 20 years. She has spent 15 years with a teacher who professed to teach what, like Ramana did, but we don't know what he really did or didn't do, but that's what he told her. And he told her he was teaching her self-inquiry and this and that and the other. That's what Ramana did. I don't know. I'm sure he's a well-meaning fellow, and he probably didn't hurt her a bit. But I noticed he didn't wake her up either. So this woman had been on the trail for over 20 years, had this Ramana school teacher for 15 years. Now she lives in Germany, and So she told me that she has a German teacher there now, and she's gone through the 12-step program, and she's done this and that. She just done it all, and she was nowhere, right? And you know, the funny thing is that I woke up somebody yesterday, swear to God, this was a woman who wrote me in desperation. She was an American, and she wrote me in desperation because she was going crazy. She was trying to find this thing, trying to get to enlightened, going to get enlightened if it kills me. And the thing to understand about enlightenment is that if you get enlightened, it will kill you. You're gonna, you know, the Fred doesn't make it through enlightenment. Neither will your character. So, but you're going to wake up, you know, no matter what. That's what she told me. She said she discovered me and that she could see it was the truth. And I was just driving her crazy. And like, God, I just can't. I'm watching you 24 hours a day. And I'm watching this one specific video over and over again. And is there anything, I'm just suffering so badly. Is there anything you can do to help me before we have our session next week? She had a session scheduled for a month. And see, the meeting starts when you schedule it. Getting to me is almost an afterthought because it's expectations get all swollen up and fears get all swollen up, and oh my God, I hope I do wake up, and my God, what if I do? And well, maybe but I know I should, but what if I shouldn't? And what if this guy's a fraud? But worse than that, what if he's not? So at any rate, she wrote me and she said, is there anything you can do for me, please, over this next week until we have our awakening session, which was yesterday? And I wrote her back last week and I said, yeah, there's some, I can give you something to do. Suffer for another week. Now that sounds cruel, but it was the best advice I could give her. Because what really drives us here typically is suffering. So we are suffering and we get here and we're desperate to not suffer anymore. But we're so smart that we can't get it. We're so smart and we want to understand enlightenment. Good luck with that. I don't understand this process. Nobody does. Nobody knows what's going on here. Nobody, I mean, I just noticed that whatever it is that I am, it's prior to language. I don't even know what I am, and I don't have any idea what's going on here. In a relative way, I know that there's a Fred unit, and it's sitting here, and it's having cutting a video here with you, and all that's true enough, but it's not true, right? It's just apparently true. So when I say you're too smart, it's because you know too much. So you think you don't know enough. And you're just desperately trying to add one little bit of something that will bring about this shift for you. My God, I've been waiting so long. I've been trying so hard. I've been being so good. None of which counts. It's just awful, isn't it? So, see, it's my job is not to give you more information. See, that's what a spiritual teacher's job is to give you more information. My job is to make sure that you end up, after talking to me, that you end up with a good deal less information. And if I'm really, really lucky, you'll end up not knowing a damn thing time we're done, right? Very often in an awakening session, I'll say, so we're at that point. Let me ask you this. Do you know what you are? Do you know what's going on? And they'll tell me, not a clue. At which point I can say, well, that's great. We're doing wonderfully then. Let's continue. Let's do some more. Awakening is not a matter of addition. It's a matter of subtraction. And it's my job to help all of you very, very smart people just get a little bit stupid. Because the key to awakening is just getting a little bit stupid. And I know that that's stupid to say that. Sounds stupid. Well, it may sound stupid, but it's true. That's right. It's absolutely true. So it's my job actually to make the incredibly obvious stand out just a little more. How stupid is that? How crazy is that? Who could make a job out of that? I don't know, but that's what I do. That's what I do. Is I take the very, very obvious and make it stand out just a little bit more to where even someone as smart as you can see it. See, doesn't that sound backwards? So wouldn't you expect me to say somebody even as stupid as you can see it? But no, that's not true. No, you're very well educated. You're so well educated you can't wake up. And if you have had an initial awakening, you've gotten so educated that you can't stay awake. Isn't that right? You can't. You just, you get these little things that, where little bits of oscillation will come. Oh my God, I've got it. Oh, it's so clear. This is so good. Boy, sure hope I can hang on to this. Where is it? Where's it gone? I had it, and I had it very strongly and very clearly, and I knew I was never going to lose it, and now I can't remember what it was that I had. God almighty, it's very difficult being a Fred unit. And you would say the same of a Bob or a Mary unit. Very difficult. But it's just hard being you, isn't it? Yeah. It's a full-time job being a Fred, let me tell you. It ain't that easy. So the little bit stupid part is because you're so smart that you think you can understand everything, including enlightenment. Now, that's just not true. It's just not. Let me tell you, this woman in Germany today, there was a little bit of language difference there, right? So it was a good day for me to have props. She didn't know the English word for props, but she said, that's the best. I don't know the English word, but that's the best thing. She loved it. And she loved it when I took the top off this thing and I said, I want you to look at this one with me. See this brain? Yeah. This brain weighs about 3 pounds. It weighs about as much as, say, a largish rabbit. And this 3 pounds believes that it can understand everything in the universe, that it's capable of understanding everything in the universe, and it might just already know everything there is to know about the universe, if only it could remember it all. But this is very, very finite, isn't it? I mean, it's actually small, right? It's just, I mean, it fits. I've got one up here. How big can it be, right? 3 pounds of goo believes that it can understand everything in the universe outside of it. That finite little ball believes that it can take in and understand the infinite. The part believes it can contain the whole. Now, folks, I don't have a great education, but even I can see that that's just not possible. It can't happen. See, I probably, and I'm just not smart enough to remain unawakened. I got a little bit stupid a long time ago. Years and years ago. And I can't take any credit for it because it's hard to take credit for getting stupid, isn't it? I mean, because it's not something we really want to brag about. Like, hey, let me tell you what stupid thing I did yesterday. Hey, can you get stupider than this? No, we don't try to top each other with how stupid we are. We try to top each other with how smart you are, and how smart I am, and how smart we are. Yeah, that's what we're after. Smart, 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 smart. And smart will get you absolutely nowhere in this one area. Now, you got a very good brain. I've already complimented. I'm bowing to it. I'm giving your ego every stroke that I can so that it just doesn't, oh, please cut him off. Get me out of this room with this little man at all costs. You can't understand this. There's no point in your believing you can understand. The biggest move I ever made in post-awakening was when I reached the understanding with a capital U, as we sometimes call awakening or enlightenment, with a understanding with a capital U. When I finally reached that understanding with a capital U, the understanding that I received was that I understood very clearly that there was no understanding this. And I abandoned the attempt to understand it. See, this second part is really key. You have to abandon the attempt to understand this. Because, see, the one that's trying to understand this is the character. Fred was trying to understand enlightenment. But enlightenment is actually coming to see that there's no Fred. So those two don't mix very well, do they? I mean, that's oil and water. But that was my dream, was that one day Fred was going to come to understand and see that there was no Fred. The imaginary character that I had created in my own head, I had great visions of it coming to see that it was an imaginary character in my own head. Tell me, what can an imaginary character come to see? What can an imaginary character come to know? Can an imaginary character gain weight or lose weight? Can an imaginary character change clothes or catch a bus? See, an imaginary character, the big key word here is imaginary. And an imaginary character just can't get this. But these imaginary characters, that even though they're imaginary, they seem to be very, very smart. They believe themselves to be very, very smart. They have got a good brain. They've all got good brains, every single one of them. I've never met one that didn't. I never met a spiritual seeker that didn't have a good brain. I have one woman that left me shaking my head. Actually, two have left me shaking my head over the years. But but I think they probably still had good brains. They were just hanging on to some other kind of little belief that I wasn't able to help them with. But because that's what's happening. See, you're so smart and you believe what you think. And you believe your own thoughts. You believe, or they're not your own thoughts, they're just thoughts. You don't have any thoughts. See, there's no Fred here, so there's no such thing as Fred's thought. It seems like there would be, doesn't it? Yeah, surely. There's got to be some Fred thinking going on here, but there's no Fred. See, that's like me putting my hand on this glass and then telling you that this is Fred's fingerprints. Bullshit. It's the body's fingerprints. It doesn't have anything to do with the Fred. How do I know there is no Fred? That's what I've come to see. That's what awakening is. It's coming to see that there's no Fred. And then further, if we're just a little bit lucky, then we're going to come to see not only what we're not, but once you come to see what you're not, actually the truth is all that's left. It may not be recognized the first time out, but it'll be recognized as long as this thing is pursued. But see, You're so smart that you believe what you've been taught, and what you believe that you've been taught, and maybe you were taught. It feels to me like I was taught this, but I don't know. I just can't tell the difference anymore. But it sort of feels to me like that I was taught that I was going to have that one big orgasmic cosmic awakening, after which I would graduate from spirituality and I would go on to become a teacher. Now, that did happen here, that the being through which enlightenment occurred is here now, and it appears to be a teacher. But it's not, it's an unteacher. But still, a lot of people would call it a teacher. Some people would just, call it an asshole or something. I'm sure I got plenty of those out there too. But just in general circles, I mean, you might call it a teacher. So it looks like all of that came to pass, but that's not what happened. I didn't graduate. I'm no closer to actually, I'm further away from graduating from spirituality than I was 10 years ago. That's the truth. I knew much more 10 years ago, and God forbid 15 years ago. Right? I mean, 15 years ago, I knew it all, and I was pretty well. I considered myself an expert on enlightenment and non-duality, and and certainly I knew what awakenings were. I know who they happened to. I know what they were like. I knew what the truth was. All this stuff that I don't know now. I don't know any of that now. So see, it's not that my knowledge base is expanding and expanding and expanding. What's actually happening is that as we move through the clearing process, we know less and less and less and less. Now I'm at the point where I know hardly anything, which is a great place to be. See, that's where Socrates was. At least I'd have the dignity to say that I believe hardly anything. Socrates said he didn't know anything at all. And I wouldn't say that I know some things, but I can say it feels sort of like I know some things. And maybe it did to Socrates too, who knows? But I can tell you that he didn't know anything. And I can tell you that I know hardly anything. You don't learn more. You come to know less. And see, that's the problem with very, very smart people. They don't want to know less. They want to know more. See, this thing is actually incredibly simple. And big brains don't want anything to do with simple. Big brains want something complex and distant, something they can really sink their teeth into, something they can solve, something they can complete, something that they can become victorious over. To the gold star by my name, teacher. Give me a big gold star up here so everybody can see that I'm the one that achieved enlightenment, that I'm now the special one. Help me out. You're too damn smart. You grok this thing or you don't. Grok, if you haven't ever heard of that word, look it up. But it's basically you just totally get something, but not in a logical form. You just get it. You just understand it on like a cellular level. Right? Way deep down, you understand something, and you understand it very, very well. But it's not that you actually understand it, it's just that you get it. Yeah, I get it. That's another way of saying, he got it. He's got it. It's another way of saying it's been grokked. Because there's no he over there. Because that's just another imaginary character. Only you're making it up. And the funny thing is, if that character over there is not making up his own imaginary character, you're making it up for him. Because you think that that's an enlightened character up there on the stage in front of you. I know I did too. I really did. I'm absolutely convinced. I used to watch Eckhart Tolle from dawn to dusk. And you'd see that little guy come out on the stage, and I'd be going, God almighty, that's got to be 150 pounds of enlightened meat. I just know it is. I can't wait until my meat wakes up. Isn't that the way of it? That's the truth of it. We're waiting for this. We're waiting for this body to wake up. We're waiting for this conditioning to wake up, because we know that once we wake up, the conditioning will have dropped away, and we'll now be much more skillful characters upon the face of the earth and interact with people on a very high level and only do good stuff. But that wasn't the way it happened here. Awakening occurred, and shortly after awakening, when I recognized there was no Fred, I noticed that I was still having to contend with Fredness, and that it was as unskillful as it ever was. And it still went around stepping on people's toes and not having a clue as to how the world worked. Right? A lot of people took offense at it, rightly so. You know? I noticed that doesn't happen anymore. You know, and I'm not trying to say that I don't offend some people. I do offend some people just by existing. And I offend a great many more because I stand up here as a, quote, spiritual teacher. But I'm not really standing up here as a spiritual teacher. I'm standing up here as a blank sheet, and you're projecting spiritual teacher. Or you're projecting spiritual fraud. Who cares? What's the? Someone asked Ramesh one time, "What's the difference between a spiritual teacher and a con man?" And he said, "There's a difference." Because, see, all of you think I know so much, and I don't know a damn thing. You're much smarter than I am. That's your problem, is that I just don't know anything. You know, and what I notice is that the borders of don't know land, which is where I live, the borders of don't know land happen to be the very same borders as the great okayness. See, I don't know anything. I don't know enough. I'm not smart enough to know that this shouldn't be happening. You are, if you're not awake right now. See, if you're not awake right now, you're so smart you know that this shouldn't be like this. But I don't know that. See, all I can find is this. You can find alternatives to this. You can find comparisons to this. I can't find any of that. All I can find is this as it is. So I got no dreams of the way that it should be. I have no concept of even the idea that it should be any other way than this. I mean, I was in tremendous pain yesterday, good bit of pain today in my elbows. No story whatsoever that I shouldn't be in pain. No story whatsoever that I should not have pain in, quote, my elbows. I mean, if I had elbows, then I'd be very concerned about them. But I don't have any elbows. I don't have a body. I don't have a head, you know. I mean, I don't have anything. I don't have any knowledge. I don't even know what I am. I mean, I know who I am. Ron and I get right together. Nezhugadata, Raman and I could have lunch with Buddha and Jesus, and we'd all know what the other one was experiencing. That's the truth. Believe it or not. But we'd know what the other's, quote, the other's apparent experience was. However you want to put that. I don't know how to language all that stuff. I don't know how to language any of this because I don't know what I'm talking about. See, and that disturbs someone. So I tell them, look, I don't know what I'm talking about. They're like, well, why the hell did I pay you? I don't know. But if you're very, very lucky, I might could make you as stupid as I am. At least briefly. Because you don't have to stay stupid, but you do have to stay stupid to this. You have to stay stupid to the idea that there is something other than this. You have to stay stupid to the notion that there has to be something better than this, that there has to be more than this, that there can possibly be some comparison to this. This is all nonsense. This is all nonsense. And I recognize it as being nonsense. And you think there's something to it. See? You actually believe that there's somebody there right in the center of that body. Like right now, Hurricane Dorian is headed toward Florida. It looks like a lot of trouble. It's a Category 3 hurricane right now. They think it's going to be a Category 4 hurricane, and it's just going to be a mess. That's what everybody's convinced of. It might be true. I can't know. But I can be sure of one thing, is that if that's a Hurricane Dorian, there ain't no Dorian in there. See, they just made up a name Dorian. See, that's what your parents did with you. They just made up a name. They said, hey, what do you want to call this little hurricane? I don't know. You want to call it Danny? Nah. It's way, that's wrong. Well, you want to call it Mary? Oh, no, Mary won't fit that one. Want to call it Fred? Oh, yeah, I like that one. Let's call it Fred. So, and that's the same thing the Weather Bureau does. They sit down, and you notice that every year they go through A, B, C, D, right? And they got, you only gone as far as D this season. And out of D, they just picked a random, I'm sure they got in the book what it's going to be next time and this time, all that, because that would be high science. But let's just tell ourselves the truth. They just pull a random D word. And they change it, right? This was Dorian. I don't know if that's a man or a woman. But they used to be all women's names, and then that became sexist. So now they make it half men's names. And see, and we thought that was progress. It's like declaring that I'm a man or a woman. That would be ridiculous. That would be absolutely crazy. That'd be just as crazy as me trying to pretend that I'm a human being. Because I'm not a human being. I'm not even on this planet. Neither are you. Because we are the same thing. And we are the unborn. The great thing about the unborn is it's also the untraveled. So it's not gone to Earth or the moon or Italy or anything like that. You have to get a little bit stupid in order to wake up. You have to be willing. This beautiful woman in Germany, she said, but the thoughts keep rising. I said, yeah. I said, and they do. I said, that's the default position, is that thoughts arise. And the default position for human units is to believe the thoughts that just arise on their own. And she said, yes, I see that. And I said, but do you have to? And she said, no. You don't have to believe the thoughts that are arising over there. You don't have to, every time I told her there's no, whatever her name was, a thought would come up and say, yes, I am a, well, let's call her Kelly. I have a client named Kelly, but this isn't who I'm talking about. Hey, Kelly. Every time I told her that there's no Kelly, up would come a little thought pattern that would say, yes, there is. So I would push that one down and say, no, there's no Kelly. And up would come another thought pattern and say, I beg to differ. I'd say, no, please get it. There's no Kelly. I'm not sure I'm getting this. No, there's no Kelly. There never was, and there never will be. I just don't understand this, really. I understand intellectually sort of what you're saying, but blah, 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 blah. That's when you're too smart. You listen to your brain. You privilege thought over experience, and you will think anything in order to cover your butt. And you will believe anything that you think. And that's not true here. It used to be true. I mean, I was a secret for 24 years. You can't get a gold star for being a quick study. But even a blind nut can find a squirrel from time to time. And that's what happened here. The blind nut found a squirrel, or blind squirrel found a nut. Something like that happened here. And I got really, really stupid for a minute where I didn't really know anything. And then it was almost like I knew everything. And then I could see, oh no, I really know nothing. But that nothing keeps trying to spin itself back into being something. I know something. I've achieved something. I've gone somewhere. I'm seeking. I'm getting close. I'm making progress. This woman has been making progress for about a quarter century. All right. And we talked about whether she should come see me or not, again or not. And I didn't know. I thought she should come to satsang, but I can't know what any other unit should do. I can't even know what this unit should do until after it's already done it. But I did ask her to tell me, so you have a German teacher, is that right, Kelly? She said, yeah. And she was afraid of kind of mixing the two up. And I said, let me ask you this. How long have you been with that German teacher? She said, oh, about 1.5 years. She's been with the Ramano teacher for about 15 years, been with this teacher for about 1.5 years. And I said, well, let me ask you this. Has that teacher woken you up in the last 1.5 years? And she said, no. I said, how long have you been with me? She said, about 1.5 hours. And then she busted out laughing because it was just so obvious. It doesn't mean that she shouldn't go see that German teacher. Who knows? She may go spend the rest of her life. She might marry that German teacher for all I know, or for all I care. It's just that, as I told her, awakeness does not have a German teacher. See, she was thinking that she was a Kelly, and that Kelly had a German teacher, and that she was kind of loyal to that German teacher, and she didn't want to get things mixed up for Kelly. Right back at the beginning. You see how quick that works? That's why you work at this. That's why you pursue this. Even though there's no one to pursue it, you pursue it anyway. Even though there's nothing to pursue, you pursue it anyway. Even though you can't make any contribution toward awakening, you try to do so anyway. But don't try hard. You just move backwards. I think I've tortured you about enough today. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you very much. And I hope to see you again quite soon. Come to satsang. Come see me. Bye-bye. Love you.